This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going into the lab. We're going to be looking under a microscope, looking at some microbes, and looking at some Biotics, because that's the name of this game. Biotics from Smirk and Dagger Games. It's for 2 to 5 players. It's sort of a take that game where you're going to be messing with your buddies, putting together combinations, activating special abilities, trying to have the best lab at the end. Let me show you how it works. I'll see you on the other side. The object of Biotics is to fill up your own petri dish with different microbes. If you fill it all the way up, that's great, but if you overfill any of the different microbes, bad things will happen with bioreactions. And you're trying to fill this up because you're going to be scoring points. And for example, here we have different points for different Biotics. So for example, this one is worth 15, this one is worth 10, that's 25 points. This is 2 and 3 points respectively. So if the round ended right now, I would actually have 30 points. But let's talk more about how the game works now that you know what you're trying to do. The start player has this little clock here, and what they're going to do is take the Biotics bag that has all the Biotics in there. They're going to draw 2 of them randomly, and then they can place them. They can place them on their own petri dish like this, or they can place it on their opponents. At the beginning of the game, most people are placing them on their own petri dish to start, building up the points there. Then it would just be the next player on clockwise. And it would continue like this until it got back to this player, and then this would move down 1. And then everyone will take another turn, this will move down 1, everyone will take another turn, this actually moves back into the bag, and then when this is drawn randomly, the round ends. The game is 3 rounds long. At the end of each round, you go through a scoring. So let's fill it up as if there were a few turns had gone. So let's say everyone's taken 3 turns. Now this player is going to put this in here because it's their turn again. And now if that white timer comes up, the round will end. But let's see here, we have all the microbes here, and let's say they draw 2, and they draw a purple and a yellow. Now let's show you how a bioreaction works. Now, this player is going to take this purple one and give it to this player. As soon as it has more than it can handle, a bioreaction occurs. Depending on the type of ability, different things will happen, and these get triggered right away. Now this one, the magnetic purple ones, they remove and trash all of the purple Biotics in everybody's petri dish. Since I didn't have any, that's good because I could just trash all of these. This guy's get trashed as well. They go into this little Biotics. This is actually the bottom of the box. You actually just put the lid on just like this and you just throw them in there. You don't want to be able to count what's in there, but you just throw them in there. Those are considered trashed, and that happens. And then I have this one. Well, I am going to put this here because this is going to cause another bioreaction, which says this person has to trash this and give away 3 of your other Biotics. Now that's bad because that costs them 15 points. This player has to give away 3 of the others. So this player might go, you know what? I'm going to go 1. I'm going to go 2 because you made me bust. Now I'm going to make you bust. And this player is going to give this one over here. So that finished that, but now this one. Now if there's ever multiple of these going to chain react, you go in clockwise order. There's nothing here, there's some here. Now this one is going to chain react, which means I have to give 1 of these to each player and then trash the rest. So they all work in a little bit different way, and that would be the end of the turn, but that's how chain reactions work. Now let's talk about the other 2 that we hadn't talked about, or the other, that get busted. The green ones. If these ones were to bioreact, you got to trash them all and 1 more of your own. So if I had gotten 2 of these here, another one here, I would have to trash all of these plus 1 more of my own, and maybe I would have had to trash this one like this. If this player had a trash red, for example, actually it's not super bad for that because you have to trash the red ones, but you get to take 2 from other players, so these would get trashed. But remember, this player goes like this, and then maybe they go like this. So the red ones, actually, sometimes you want to use them and bust yourself to get other things. Sometimes you don't because you're pretty much full on everything else. So that's how the different abilities work with those. Now in the advanced game, there's a black known as aggressive type. Let's say it's this player's turn, they draw it, they can give it to somebody. They put it here, this player has to replace one of theirs there. So let's say they replace this one this one gets trashed. If you don't have any, let's say this was given to me, I can place it anywhere like that. Now what this happens is these are always worth -2. So if the round ended right now, this is worth 2 points, this is worth -2, this essentially is worth 0. Plus you can never replace a black one with a black one. Now, you have to be careful because at the end of the round, if their entire dish has nothing but blacks, instead of getting -2, you actually get 5 points. And it's not just 5 points total, it's 5 points for each of those that you had there. So if I had just this, that's actually 10 points. Not terrible, but if you have even just one of anything else, they're -2 apiece. And again, this would continue until this is drawn. The round would end immediately. Everything gets trashed. Everybody else will count up the scores as I showed you at the beginning of the game. And then everyone has to decay, which is trash any 2 of their biotics. And then you'd put those all back in the box. And everything that was trashed and in the box would go back in the bag. You'd start another round. At the end of the second round, if you have 20 less points than the leader, you get to write down a number and how many and place that piece of paper underneath your mat. If you have exactly that, you'll get Eureka Paradox, which is 30 points at the end of the game. But that's only if you're losing by 20 or more at the end of the second round. Essentially, you're going to play 3 rounds, just as we showed you here, and whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. There's also a 2-player variant where you just simply take out one of each of the colors before your start, and there's also a different back for 5 players, which scales it with the amount of things that are there. All right, well, there is Biotics, and just like in classic Smirk and Dagger fashion, this is one of those games that if you play with people that don't mind being mean to each other, love to mess with each other, that's the name of their game, it falls right in their line. Absolutely. This is a lot of fun. It's a quick game. It's 20 to 30 minutes. It's got when you first play the game, you first look at it and you hear the rules and okay, I'm just grabbing 2 random things and why wouldn't I just put them all on mine? And okay, I could see once in a while I put in someone else's. And at first you think it's just going to be this simple random game. But as the game goes on, after the first couple turns, man, you really get to see that even though this is a very light game, you're literally just pulling 2 things out of a bag and then playing them. And that's it. But it's not really it because of all the different ways that things interact with each other. And the game is all about those special abilities causing things to happen, those bioreactions, and causing chain reactions to happen, which was the most fun part of the game. I showed you a little bit of there in the overview where, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make someone's yellow, bioreact. Well, they're gonna get rid of 3. They could give it to me to make me go overboard, and then this might make somebody else go overboard, and just all this stuff that happens back to back, and it can be pretty chaotic, but it's always pretty fun. And well, I got a choice. Who am I gonna give this to? Well, you know what? This guy messed me over earlier. I'm going to come back and get you now. And there's a lot of that goes on in this game where, hey, there's some grudges that get started right from the beginning of the game and they stay to the end and 2 people are going nose to nose, just like slugging it out. Okay, we'll let those 2 beat each other up. We'll try to win the game over here. And it's fun. It's really good. The more players, the more interesting choices there are. It's not bad with 2. I played it with 2 and it's not bad. It's fine. It works. You don't have to have any robot play or anything like that. I do think it shines better with more people, 3 or 4. Even 5 works because you flip the boards over and it scales it a little bit better. I think 3 or 4 is definitely the sweet spot here, but all the player counts work fine. You get pretty much the same amount of turns, although with more players, the last round when that the timer comes out, obviously you're probably gonna get less of those turns. You're gonna get at least 3 turns per round, which usually is enough to get your board going and stuff. But yeah, I liked it. There was more depth here than meets the eye. I think there's a lot of good decisions where you're looking like, who should I give this to? If I put over here, or do this. And then a lot of the things I like how that they were conditional, where it's like, hey, the red ones, most of the time you don't mind getting those things blown up because you're gonna take 2 from somebody else. Well, you know what? I'm gonna blow up these 2 red, give it to myself. I'm gonna cause a bioreaction, and I get to take 2. I don't have a yellow. I don't have a purple. I just made 25 points. Cool. But sometimes you have that red, and you really have no room anywhere else. Maybe your board's almost full, and you don't really want to take anymore because you don't want to go overboard, and you don't want to be so close that you're gonna go overboard when the next player gets to you. So I like how some of those are sort of conditional. I love the advanced rules with the black aggressive ones. I don't see any reason to not play with that right away. It's definitely a lot better with those, and it's not that much more complex. So I would just throw in the black aggressive ones right away. But overall, if you're looking for a 20 to 30 minute game that's fun, quick, easy to teach, have some special abilities. You gotta really think about when to trigger them, who you want to trigger them on, and what might that do, and what might they do with that, and then what might that do with that. And you're looking through these chain reactions, you're thinking, even with one turn, you're thinking 3 turns ahead of how things are gonna react, and it's fun. It's a really good game. So I highly recommend it, and that is Biotics.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.